Hi, today we will be talking about blowouts when it comes to painting with bleach. What are they? Why do they happen? And how to avoid them. So let's dig in. So first things first, what are blowouts? So this is an example of a blowout. You can see that the lines aren't crisp, that it just literally looks like it's been blown out, like it bleeded out. So I'm going to teach you how to avoid this. First things first, the most important thing that will save you from blowouts is the brush that you use. So I always, especially for line work, I always avoid using the round brushes. Flat brush is my favorite tool when painting with bleach. It gives you so much more control. The round brushes, sometimes they create these random drops of bleach that creates a pool, and a pool leads to a blowout. However, with these flat brushes, it's way easier to control the amount of bleach that you have. So what I always do before starting a line, I dip the brush in bleach and I dab off all of the excess bleach. Either you can do it either on the rim of your container, or you can get a separate piece of fabric or some paper towel and just dab it off twice and then do the line. Trust me, if you're struggling with blowouts, it's way better to use less bleach. So if you dab off too much and you feel like you did the line and it's not bright enough, that's okay, because once it's dry, you can always repass it. However, if you do a blowout, if you use too much bleach, it's really hard to come back from that. First, if you're painting with undiluted bleach, it can create a hole in your fabric if you use too much. Second, it's most likely going to lead to a blowout, which is way harder to fix. You can try to paint around it with a fabric marker or with some black textile paint, but it's going to be a whole nother fuss, and it's just way easier to avoid the blowout in the first place. Okay, so the second thing that can cause a blowout. Remember when I said that if you pull a line in a minute and they're like, oh no, it's not bright enough, I'm gonna do it again. But bleach takes some time to fully work. Yes, you can start to see the line in about a minute, but it's still wet, it's still going to develop, it's gonna get brighter. And if you paint on an area that is still wet and you add more liquid, it's gonna lead to a blowout. So it's really important to be patient. I always keep a hairdryer by my side. So I just do, let's say if I'm just doing a line design, I do all of the lines of the whole design. Then I dry them with a hairdryer. And only then, when everything is fully dry, I think, hey, do I need to repass some things? And once they're 100% dry, I cannot emphasize this enough, then I repass it. Again, dabbing off all excess bleach and carefully, slowly repassing the lines. But as well, remember that bleach is damaging to fabric. If you use it properly, you're not going to create any holes. However, if you use too much, it might lead to some problems and eventually creating holes. There's some construction here. I hope it's not interrupting the sound too bad. If it is, I'm so sorry. But this is the only time that I could do it. So when I was starting with bleach painting, this happened to me a few times. I wanted the artwork to be brighter, so I did another layer of bleach and I lost the artwork. It created holes after washing it and everything was lost. So, I mean, bleach painting is a little bit of trial and error. So maybe you're gonna lose a few pieces, but I'm here to try to help you avoid that. So yeah, always take into consideration, try to realize how much bleach your fabric can actually handle. I like to paint on heavy cotton shirts so that they can handle quite a lot of bleach, but still, normally if I paint with undiluted bleach, I don't repass it unless I really didn't use enough bleach and it needs a little bit of a touch up. But like if the lines are solid and smooth, I wouldn't do another layer. But if you want to try it to see if how much bleach your fabric can handle, you can always try to do a few layers in an armpit or some tiny hidden space where you don't really mind if there could be a little hole, because you can sew it shut afterwards. So before doing your design, you can do, let's say, one layer of bleach and then next to it 2 layers of bleach. 3 layers is definitely way too much. Like, you don't even need to try that. That's definitely too much if you're painting on a cotton t-shirt. And then, yeah, see it start to rip it apart a little bit once the layers are dry, and see if your t-shirt maybe can't even hold 1 layer of bleach. It really depends on how thick your fabric is. And yep, I'll be posting more tutorials on this page. So if you're into bleach painting, then click follow.